Hey guys, it's Maylee. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm super excited to be talking about my sorority recruitment experience. I've been meaning to make this video for a while, and I thought now would be the perfect time, especially since some of you guys might be preparing or just like thinking about sorority recruitment. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to give you guys the raw, honest truth about what my recruitment experience is like. I didn't really know what to expect, so I found these videos super helpful. I just thought that I would share my experience and kind of go through the week. I go to UCLA, and UCLA has their formal Panhellenic recruitment in the fall. Obviously, every school is going to be a little bit different, but for the most part, I would say like what I experienced during recruitment at UCLA is pretty similar to what my friends have experienced at other schools. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right on to the video. Okay, so the very first step of recruitment is signing up for recruitment. And this is an online process. It starts the summer before recruitment, or at least like if you have recruitment in the fall. I know all schools vary, so some schools will have formal recruitment in the fall and some will have them in the spring. If you're planning on rushing at UCLA or you're vaguely interested, the signups are open now, so I highly recommend, like even if you're not sure whether you want to rush a sorority, if you have like a faint inkling that like you might be interested, I would definitely say sign up, because if at any time during the rush process you change your mind, you can drop. Like, it's totally cool. A lot of people do that when they realize like, oh, I don't know if this is the right fit for me or something. So yes, you sign up online. Basically you just like send in basic info about yourself, so like name, major. They do ask for your GPA, so submit your high school GPA, and then they also ask for a picture or like a headshot. You want to send in like a pretty nice photo of yourself, you know, not just something where you like rolled out of bed and just like shot a selfie or something. Like, put some effort into your picture. I submitted one of my senior photos from senior year. Also for this year, I know that a lot of schools will be doing a very different format for recruitment with the pandemic and everything. UCLA, and for the most part, like most schools haven't fully decided like what their plan is, so it's still up in the air. I have heard that some schools are planning on having people submit a video about themselves, an intro video, or like an intro essay or letter about themselves. So if you guys are interested in some advice about like what to put in those essays or videos about yourself, definitely feel free to let me know, and I would love to help you guys out on that. But for today, since I did not have virtual recruitment, I had recruitment in person last year, I will just be going through my experience. So at UCLA, the students move in during 0 week. And 0 week is basically the first week before classes start. And during 0 week, there are a bunch of just like, you know, social activities to kind of get to know people. But the main thing is, if you're planning on joining a sorority, is that formal recruitment is during 0 week. I went online and I printed out the fall recruitment schedule from last year so that I can give you guys like a full rundown of everything, like what the days looked like. So on Monday was our mandatory orientation, and this was the day where we got all the info we needed. And then we also met our Rho Gamma group and our Rho Gamma. Your Rho Gamma is going to be your go-to gal during the whole recruitment process. I know that they call it different things at other schools, but at UCLA we call them Rho Gammas. And basically these are girls that are in sororities, but they have disaffiliated from their sorority, so you don't know what sorority they're in, and they help you go through the whole process. So they answer any questions, they're who you go to if you need advice. It's totally unbiased. Our school is very strict that Rho Gammas don't like promote their sorority or something. It's completely top secret. You don't know what sorority they're in. You do find out on the last day, which is really fun and exciting. But yeah, during recruitment, they're just there to help you and guide you. And my Rho Gamma was so nice. Shout out to Kaylee. She was so sweet. She helped me through the entire process. You also have your Rho Gam group, so that's basically like all the other girls who share the Rho Gamma with you. I believe our group was like 10 to 15-ish girls. During orientation, they give you your round 1 shirts. So these are the shirts that you're going to wear for the first day of rush. I actually pulled out my recruitment shirt so you guys can see what it looks like. So it's basically just this blue one. It says formal recruitment on it. And on the back, it's really cute. It says find your home, and it has all the sororities' letters on them. Typically, most schools, they'll give you a shirt to wear on round 1. Okay, so round 1 is on Tuesday, so it's the next day after orientation. And here it says it's 8:30 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is crazy. I know, it's the whole day. Even though it says it's like 8:30 to 10 p.m., you do have breaks during the day. Round 1 is open house round, and that means you go to every single sorority house and you talk to the girls there. You're at each house for around like 20 to 25 minutes. So if you think about it, like UCLA has 11 sororities, So you're gonna go into each house and talk to the girls there for 30 minutes each. It definitely is a long day and it gets tiring, so I would make sure you bring snacks, you bring water because it was very hot during that day. Round 1 is the only day that you'll be going to each house with your Rho Gamma group. Every group has a different schedule and there will be like 30-minute blocks. So one block you might be visiting like Theta or something, and then the next block you might be visiting like G5, and then the block after maybe you have a break or something. Those breaks are called buys. Okay, going into the first house during round 1 was definitely an experience. So what they'll have you do is you line up by your PNM number in front of the house. That's another important vocab word, PNM. That means potential new member, and that's basically what you call all the girls who are rushing. So every girl that was rushing was a PNM, though I just said that. So every girl has their specific number, and you wear a name tag that has your name and your number. And there'll be a few Rho Gammas in front of every house, and they'll call off all the numbers, make sure all the girls are there. So they'll be PNM number 2, and then 2 will say here, and then 5 and they'll say here. So it goes on. And I was really surprised by, I guess, how organized everything was. Not that I didn't expect it to not be organized or anything. It was very, very formal and I guess kind of strict. They would double, triple check that every girl was there, that you were lined up in the right order. The girls who were rushing you, so the girls in the sorority houses, they would all come out at the same time. It was very on the minute. So at first I was kind of taken aback by that because I was like, whoa, this is military style, this is very serious. But you get used to it. When they come out, the president and vice president and then recruitment chair will typically introduce themselves. So it's one of those things where they're like, hi, my name is Kelsey and I'm your president, or my name is so-and-so and I'm your recruitment chair. And if you've seen those TikToks or memes that are and we are so excited to see you, we've been waiting all summer. That is when they say that, when you're entering the house. So yes, all the PNMs are lined up in front of the house. Then you enter the house just in a straight line. And then once you get into the house, there will be a girl from the sorority that takes you and they bring you to a chair or a table or something. And that's when you guys start to talk and have a conversation. During the first round, your conversations are very basic. It's very much just small talk. So they'll be what's your name, major, what activities did you do in high school, what do you like to do in your free time. So you just kind of get a feel for what the girls are like there. After a few minutes, a second girl will come over and kind of be hey, I'm here to take you and talk to you. And you don't just talk to one girl, you talk to, I would say 3 girls. And then at the end of that block, so at the end of the 30-ish minutes, then one of the girls in the sorority rings a bell and they'll say sadly our time is up, we've had a great time getting to know you, and then they'll walk you out the door. And yeah, so that is round 1. You do this for every single house on the row, so as I said, it's very tiring. At UCLA, they give you these little booklets or pamphlets where you can take notes on each sorority, and I highly, highly recommend doing this because you're visiting so many different houses that at some point they start to blend together and it's hard to remember which one was which. So whether that be a pen and paper or you're taking notes on your phone, I highly recommend that as you're transitioning from one house to the other, they just write down and take note of what girls you talked to, or if you felt it was a good fit and kind of what the vibe of the house was. So talking more about my experience, I wasn't very familiar with all the different chapters at UCLA. However, I did go into the rush process kind of having one sorority that I want to join kind of in my mind. And honestly, I would not recommend this. I know it's cliche and you hear a ton of times that people say you should keep an open mind, but that is definitely true. You want to give each sorority a fair chance because you never know which one you're gonna fit in with until you really talk to the girls there. So for me, as I was saying, there was one sorority going into it that I was oh, I think that this is the one that I'd really, really want to join. And the reason why I had that thought was because I had other friends in this sorority, but at other schools. So they really enjoyed it at their schools, but that's also another thing to keep in mind. Every sorority at every school is going to be totally different. So during round 1, when I went into that sorority's house, I was a little bit disappointed because honestly, I didn't really connect with anyone that well. And there were definitely other houses where I had a really, really good connection. I still decided to pref them as my number 1 choice at the end of round 1, but I did not get them back for round 2, which means that they didn't pref me back, which I mean is totally fine. There is a high chance that you might not be asked back to a sorority that you really liked, so that can be a little bit disappointing. But as I said, it's super important to keep an open mind, and I'm so glad that I'm in the sorority I am now. And I guess I've already talked about my sorority on my channel before, so I'm in Chi Omega. That is one of the houses I had an initial like great first conversation with. And I remember on the first day during open house round, one of the girls I was talking to, her name is Dana. Shout out Dana, if you're ever watching this, I love you. When I was introducing myself, I told her that I was from Seattle, and she was like, no way, I'm from Seattle too. And we started talking a little bit more, and we realized that the high schools that we went to were like really close by each other. So we instantly just like clicked, and then from there we just had a great conversation. I also remember at another house I had that same like great connection because I got paired with another girl that was from Seattle. So, you know, when you guys are like from the same hometown, you automatically have things to talk about. At the time, I was like, wow, this is such a coincidence that I'm getting paired with other girls from Seattle. Like, we're having such good conversations. And then later in the day, when I was talking with my Rho Gamma group, my Rho Gamma was like, oh yeah, like they pair specific people together, like if they think you'll be a good fit. And then the other girls were like, yeah, duh. And I was like, oh, okay, so it wasn't fate. But yeah, regardless, I had a great time during first round in Cayo. And then I also had a couple other houses that I had a great like first impression. At the end of the day, once you've visited all the houses and talked to the girls, you'll rank them in order from like what was your favorite to your least favorite. So there are 11 different chapters that you visit during round 1. And then you will have a maximum of 8 chapters that you will be called back to on day 2. Even though they say that you will get called back to a maximum of 8 houses, I honestly don't know anyone who got called back to 8. I think the average for day 2 is around like 5-ish, or I don't know what the average was, but for the most part, like the girls that I talked to, and then I think I got called back by around like 5 houses. But yeah, if you don't get called back to 8, like don't feel bad at all. That doesn't really mean anything. At the end of the day, you're only going to choose 1 house. Round 2 is called Sisterhood round, and that is like the next day. So it was on Wednesday, and it was from 10 a.m. to 8:35 p.m. So again, another long day. In the morning, you meet with your Rho Gam group, and you kind of just like touch base. And this is the first day where you're going to be kind of like on your own. And what I mean by that is on the first day, you know, you're traveling from house to house with your Rho Gam group. But on the second day, obviously everyone is going to have different houses that they are called back to. So everyone is going to have a different schedule. So you'll get your own specific schedule. And like the first day, it's not like constantly go, go, go. You will have breaks. And round 2 is called Sisterhood round. So that is where you get to know the sororities a little bit better. At UCLA, we also have house tours during that second day. So they show you around the sorority house, which is really fun. You get to see like how all the houses are different, what it's like to live in the house. This is also the day that you ask about finances and like how much it costs to be in the sorority or how much it costs to live in, because that is definitely something that's important to consider when you're joining a sorority. Like it does get pretty pricey. Some sororities also have live-in requirements. So this is like a minimum amount of years that you're required to live in the house. This is something that I'd also bring up during that second day. For the sorority that I joined, Cayo at UCLA, our live-in requirement is 2 years. I know that some sororities at UCLA, their live-in requirement is 1 year. So yeah, it really varies by the house. Day 2, you're going to be dressing fancier. So on that day, I wore a summer dress with wedges. Again, you want to make sure you're wearing some sort of comfortable shoes because, you know, you're still visiting a good number of houses. So you'll be walking up and down Sorority Row. And since also it's house tours, you'll be like walking around the house, going up and down stairs. So make sure you're wearing shoes that you're comfortable with. So yeah, that was pretty much round 2. I really like this round just because, like, you know, you got to see the houses, and especially during recruitment, they make their houses so pretty. They'll hang up really nice fairy lights and everything will be super clean, and like there'll be a ton of really cute decor, and they just make the house really fancy. So as someone who's really into interior design, I was gushing and fangirling over all of the houses, just like how they decorated it. So I had like kind of like a top 3. I didn't have a top choice after the second day. I know that when I visited Cayo, I had more great conversations with the girls there. There are a couple other houses as well that I really liked. And honestly, that was really helpful because at the end of round 2, you can only pref your top 5 houses. Like during round 3, you will only get called back to a maximum of 5 houses. So having like a top 3 was nice because I already knew like which ones I was gonna eliminate. It was difficult when it came to like ranking among those top 3 because, as I said, I didn't have a top choice. So I kind of just like placed them in random order and hope that I got called back to all 3 of them. And that brings me to round 3, which is Impact round. Impact round is broken up into 2 days. So this is because UCLA, our classes start on that Thursday. So sorority rush is in the evening, like after classes. It says here that it was from 6 to 10:30 p.m. So yeah, it can go pretty late, but you do have like the day to just kind of chill if you don't have classes if you do have classes, you have classes and then recruitment, so good luck with that. So as I said, you get called back to a maximum of 5 houses during round 3. I believe I got called back to like 3 or 4. Yeah, it was 4. It was my top 3, which I was so happy that I got called back to. And then it was this one other one, which during round 1 and 2, I prepped them towards the bottom because I didn't really feel like I had a great connection with the girls. We definitely had a lot to talk about. Like, their philanthropy was really something similar to what I did in high school, so that was definitely something like we connected well with. But in terms of just like other conversation topics and like my conversations with the girls, I didn't really feel like it was a good fit in that sorority, so I was kind of surprised that each day I kept getting called back by them. But as I said, it's really important to keep an open mind, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go in again and talk with some other girls, see how it goes. Something I forgot to mention, as the days progress, the groups that go into the houses get smaller and the amount of time that you spend in each house increases. So I believe by like round 3, you were in each house for like 45 minutes to an hour-ish. Round 3, I would probably say, in my opinion, is the most intense round. Yeah, I remember during round 3, after our Rogamas had given us our schedules, I had like gone to the bathroom. I remember when I walked in the bathroom, there were a ton of girls there and they were all just like crying and like consoling each other. But like, yeah, a lot of the girls were really upset because like they didn't get called back to a house that they really liked. So I think for me, I was lucky in the sense that I didn't have a house that I was like dead set on, that I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be in this house. Because I know that for some of my friends that they had a house that they were like, I need to be in this house. And when they didn't get called back by that house, it was super hard for them. So yeah, as I said, it's important to keep an open mind, but I totally understand that it can be a hard process, especially if there's one sorority you really like. Also, since round 3 is broken up into 2 days, since I had 4 houses to visit, I had 2 on Thursday and then 2 on Friday. Round 3 is when the sorority shares their philanthropy with you, and philanthropy is basically each sorority has some sort of organization that they raise money for or raise awareness about. This is a super touching round because the different girls will talk about what the sorority means to them and like what the organization means to them. Most sororities will show you a video that they've made where they show the different events that they put on during the year. For Chi-O, our philanthropy is Make-A-Wish, so we'll have a couple events during the year. In the fall, we hosted a kind of like game with the frats where we raise money, and then later, like in winter, we had something called Chi-Hop, which is basically like a play on words of IHOP with Chi-O, and we just raise money by selling pancakes. At the end of round 3, you're going to prep your top 2, because during round 4, you get called back to a maximum of 2 houses. For me, out of the 4 houses that I visited, I had 3 that I really liked, but I did have 2 that I liked better than like that 3rd one. So I was able to choose my top 2, but it was hard to rank within the top 2, like which one was first and which one was second. At the end, I think I just ended up just like randomly placing like first and second choice because I couldn't decide. But luckily on the 4th day, round 4, I was called back to my top 2 choices, so I'm so grateful that I was, because it was really nice to be able to spend round 4 at those 2 houses. So here on the schedule, round 4 is called Pref Round, and it's from 2 to 6:45. And it's a super special day. The way they describe it in the schedule is they say that
Preference Round focuses on the deepest aspects of sorority life, Sisterhood, and ritual. Preference parties are the longest parties of recruitment, and chapters will invite PNMs to participate in a ceremony
that offers a glimpse of their ritual. So yeah, the way they described it in the paper, like on my schedule, it had the same description, and I was like, what is this? We'll see a part of their ritual, like are they a freaking cult or something? But no, it's not like that. It was like super sweet. When we lined up in front of the houses during round 4, instead of just like walking to the houses, what they did was there'd be a girl from the sorority who would call you in by name. So for my 2 houses, Chi-O, I remember that was super fun. Dana came out and she was like, this girl I've been talking to, we met during round 1, and we talked about how our high schools were near each other and we had mutual friends. And immediately I knew she was talking about me, so she brought me to the house and then we sat down and like we talked again, talked about how the whole week was. You know, this is the day where you kind of get to ask your final questions, anything that you want to know before you commit to a sorority. My other choice of the top 2 sororities, I got called back by a girl who I also had a really great conversation with during the first day. So yeah, that made it super difficult. Like I had such good experiences at both houses, and I really liked both houses. Besides their like ritual on day 4, they also have a couple girls give speeches about, again, like what the sorority means to them and what their experience in the sorority has been like. So you see a lot of that like sisterhood and bonding. I was just looking around and all the girls looked so happy in each other's presence, and they're like laughing along with each other, and you could kind of get the energy from the room and just feel that they were all supportive of one another and that they were all there for each other. I felt like at other houses, didn't really feel like all of them had like a good connection. And of course, like you can't be sure, but just like, you know, the vibes that you get from the room, you can kind of like have a good sense of like, would I fit in with this group or would I not fit in with this group? So since it's round 4, you have the longest conversations that day, and that's also the day where you dress the fanciest. So people will dress like formal attire or like cocktail attire. Okay, so at the end of round 4, this is when you pref your first and second choice and like put them in order. Also, something really interesting that I learned is that some people, when they are prefing their top 2 choices, they will only list one, and this is known as a suicide bid. And everyone tells you like, do not do a suicide bid, because basically if you only put one sorority down and let's say they don't pref you back, then on bid day you're not gonna have a sorority to join. It's like you've gone through that whole week and like done the whole recruitment process to not have a sorority to join. I wasn't planning on doing suicide bidding. I know one girl who did suicide bid, but she luckily got the sorority that she chose. Also during round 4, I was in the lucky position that I really liked both houses that I listed for my 2 choices. So when I listed my bid preference, it was a really hard decision. Honestly, I kind of just like went for it. I put Kaio as my number 1, and then my number 2 choice was the other house. But honestly, I felt great about both houses, and I knew that I'd be happy whichever house I ended up in. And then Sunday is bid day, so basically everyone gets together like early in the afternoon, and we all met in like one of the big auditoriums, and you sit with your Rho Gamma group. Your Rho Gamma will give you an envelope, and inside the envelope has a piece of paper saying which sorority you're in. But the thing is, you have to sit through like a long presentation where they like thank everyone, you know, and you just have this envelope in your hand that you're holding and you just want to open it. I think the assembly was like 30 minutes or an hour or something like that. But it felt like a freaking long time because I just wanted to open my envelope and see what sorority I was in. However, something really exciting during those announcements is you get to find out what sororities the Rho Gammas are in. This was so fun because the entire week my Rho Gamma group and I, we were all like trying to guess which sorority our Rho Gamma Kaylee was in. And actually, I guessed correctly. I guessed that she was a Kappa Delta, and she was. But yeah, it was super cute and really exciting. So then finally, after all that is done, then everyone opens up their envelopes at the same time, so they like count down, they're like 3, 2, 1, and then everyone opens it up, and then there's a ton of screaming. I was so excited to see that my paper had said Kaio. Honestly, looking back, I would have been happy if I had Kaio or my second choice because I loved both houses so much, but yeah, when I read that I had Kaio, I was so excited. And then there will be a few girls who are in the sorority waiting like near the entrance, and so you go towards them and then you get your bid day shirt, and every chapter for bid day they have a different theme. So for Kaio, our theme was Kaio Rodeo. I'll insert some pictures here. So we had like a lot of cute decor on that theme, and then we even had a mechanical bull that people could ride. So you run back to sorority row, you run back to your house, and at the house all the other sorority girls are there and they're like cheering for you and they're welcoming you in, and you meet all the other like new members, and it is a super fun day. It's a great way to end the long week, and yeah, that's pretty much my experience. So overall, it was, you know, a really busy week. It was a hectic process, but honestly, as busy as it was really exciting. Like during that first week that you have something to do and, you know, you're meeting so many different new people. It's a great way to kind of get involved in the campus right away. So yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope this helped you guys out. If it did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below for more. I'm planning on making a whole nother video where I compile all my tips for rush and recruitment and and like all the pieces of advice I have. So if you'd like to see that, definitely feel free to let me know in the comments below, especially since this year recruitment is going to be different for most schools. Like it might be online, like virtual recruitment. I'm wondering if it might be helpful for you guys if I made a video about like how to make a good first impression on virtual recruitment, or like what things to discuss when you're like talking virtually, because it is a different situation if you're doing it virtually versus in person. So yeah, if you guys want to see that, let me know. If you're thinking of rushing, let me know. I'm super curious and I'm super excited for you guys. And also, if you're in a sorority, let me know what sorority you're in. Until next time, I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!